I guess I'm live. I don't know. Can you guys hear me? Hey, thanks a lot for stopping by. I do appreciate it. This is my first live stream here on YouTube. I play the bass. I used to be a stand-up comic. I used to be a radio DJ, and now, but I joined the army and I got injured. Wasn't combat that injured. I was a paratrooper, and I had a really bad landing. So there we go. And I'm trying to get everything kind of squared away. This is just a test. And if you guys notice that this eye kind of droops a little bit and my mouth doesn't really work on that side, it's because I have Bell's palsy. And there you go. So go ahead and chat away. I got my daughter. She's joining right now. So hopefully she'll be able to tell me if she can hear me or not. Okay, says she's joining. Give her the little thumbs up thingy. And we'll see where we're at. I know my lighting's not perfect or anything like that. I'm not a very rich man, so I'm not a very rich man. I'm not a rich man at all. I live off my disability. I'm trying to get my mic set straight. This is hilarious. I'm trying to figure, maybe I should move the camera over here. Who knows? But this is my good side, so there you go. Like I said, I play the bass, and I'm going to try to Hey, what's going on, Liv? Thanks a lot for stopping by. You can hear me. Can you hear the bass as well? Cool. Thank God. How does it sound? Does it sound okay? I've got to get this set up differently. I've got to put my mic somewhere else. Cool. If you guys can just let me know if you hear me and give it a thumbs up and do all that stuff, I will. I'll be grateful for that, and I appreciate it. I guess this is the first time, so I guess I got to. Yeah, it's definitely a process. I got to tell the world about myself. I've tried to do podcasts before. I've done the whole like driving in the car and talking, but that was a lot about politics. I don't want to talk about politics anymore. I'm done with it. I don't care. I just want to talk to people and, I don't know, heal from all the bullshit that we have to deal with in this world. Come here, laugh, and my daughter's watching me right now, but I was talking about this before. I'm not a big fan of podcasts that only have one person, because it's kind of like the bass sounds good. Yeah, politics suck. Yes, the bass sounds good and politics suck. That'll be the name of the next podcast. Hell, I forgot what I was talking about. Let's see. I don't know. I guess I could go back to the beginning. Ever since I was a little kid, I remember the first laugh I ever got in my life was in kindergarten. And my kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Curl, she had these long fingernails, and this is back in the 70s, so they could like hurt you. She would grab you with them long nails if you screwed up. Well, it was my turn to do the chalk erasers. You had to take them outside and bang them, and it was like a privilege to do that. It was the 70s. And I remember I did it, and there was all this chalk dust in the bucket because they had to go into a little bucket. And I dumped all the chalk dust out. I put the bucket on my head, and I did like a funny dance walking back into the classroom. Everybody busted out laughing, except Mrs. Curl. Woo! I remember she grabbed my arm and spanked me. Back then, you could just beat children. Oh yeah, I remember being in a grocery store getting spanked. I remember seeing other kids getting hit, spanked, slapped, told I'm gonna, wait till your father gets home. That was the worst thing you could hear back in the 70s, 80s, and maybe the early 90s. But wait until your father gets home was, because he was always like, hey guys, what's going on? Oh, he did this, did he? Get downstairs. And he would, my dad had this leather strap, and you'd have to lean up against the wall. And it was always between 7 to 10 times he'd spank me. And after the third or fourth one, it was always stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. Anyway, then after he beat me, it was clean up the basement. So there I am cleaning up the basement, crying, plotting my revenge. God, just killing me to sleep. And then he would come down and, son, I did it because I love you. But here's the crazy thing. As I got older, I realized, yeah, he went a little overboard sometimes, but he disciplined me because he loved me. He never just hit me outright. It was, trust me, I did something wrong. But I remember watching Richard Pryor live on Sunset Strip. And that's my beautiful wife behind you, Stacy.
Not looking beautiful. Sorry.
She's a good woman. She saved my life. But anyway, I was watching Richard Pryor live on Sunset Strip. And I just remember my dad laughing so hard at that. And I thought, I love when you make like a crowd of people laugh. Jesus Christ, I look like a ghoul. When you make like it's like a scary story. Babe, can you open the bathroom? Look, I need more light. This is hilarious. But anyway, I wanted to do stand-up. And I remember when I was 18, I went to a comedy class at Ray Combs Comedy Connection in the Crew Tower. It's like for the longest time, it was one of the tallest buildings in Cincinnati. And underneath they had this comedy club. And Ray Combs, he actually hosted Family Feud for a while. And he's from Cincinnati, so he opened up a comedy club there. Well, I paid I don't know, it was like $10 to take this comedy class. And it's supposed to teach you how to write. And it really didn't. And at that age, at 18, I thought that sitting around with my buddies and smoking weed and cracking jokes with them was stand-up comedy. And I found out really quick when I got on stage and had absolutely no material. I completely froze. My mom and dad were there. My sisters were there. My girlfriend was there. My teachers were there. People from school, everybody was there. And I bombed so bad that I went into the green room afterwards. Green room's like where the entertainment hangs out before they get on stage. And I bawled my eyes out. Everybody knew I was crying. I came out. People were like, hey, don't worry about it, man. You're good. You're good. Everybody bombs their first time. Everybody's giving me all these attaboys. And at least you had the balls to get on stage. But there was one comic who's an older black guy. I wish I could remember this guy's name because he was the only one that told me. He said, because I was like, man, I started, doing the whole, like, the victim thing. And he looked at me and he said, man, you failed because you wanted to fail. You failed because you thought sitting around with your buddies and cracking jokes is comedy, you found out it ain't. It's actually work. You did this to yourself. And it was like, it kind of shocked me. So I was like, what the, who is this guy? But then I stepped back and I realized he's right. And it took me 4 years to get up the nerve to get on stage again. And my first wife, she was tired of hearing me talk about wanting to be a comedian. So she was like, listen, you want to do it, just fucking do it and shut up. Well, I called the Ray Combs Comedy Club had shut down because he had passed. And then there was a only comedy club in Cincinnati was Go Bananas. And I called them and I tried to be slick, I tried to be like, oh, hey, I'm a, I've been doing comedy for, they were like, you're not a comedian. Like they knew right away. And they said, listen, it's going to be like your first time on stage. I said, no, it's going to be my second time. My first time I bombed. They said, we're going to give you 6 months. I'm not going to book you for 6 months. For the next 6 months, you need to come up with 5 minutes worth of material. And that's what I did. I wrote every day. I watched comedy. I watched comedians. I was every single day. I'm left-handed, so I was writing every day. Every time I would think, so I had a little notebook. I'd got a little tape recorder, and I went to. It's a pro-am. It's not an open mic night. It's a pro-am night. So you got like 4 or 5 amateur comics, and then the feature act, which is the middle act. There's 3 acts on a regular comedy show. There's the MC, feature, and the headliner. And the feature act for that week would do like 30 minutes at the end. And I got up there, my wife, her friend, I think like 2 of her friends were there. My buddy Mike and Dave, they were there. And it's a couple people, right? And I did okay. I had a couple of people really cracking up, but literally every other word out of my mouth was fuck. And it was like these college guys, and I don't know, I just connected with them, and laughter's contagious. So, I did okay. Get off stage. I've got this massive adrenaline going on, and I looked at the manager. His name was John Chung. And this dude was like, I ain't having you ever at I will never pay you to be on stage here. Every other word out of your mouth was the F word. It wasn't that funny. Your material sucked. I mean, hey, bubble, pop. I was like, God damn, what do I have to do? So he's like, the only way I will let you back on my stage, you can't say one cuss word. It has to be a completely squeaky clean act. Well, the next week, get on stage, totally clean, except I had to say, there was one cuss word. I can't remember if it was shit or fuck, but I had to say it for this joke to work, and it killed. Killing means it did good. And I got off stage, and he was pissed, but I said, John, sir, please, like bowing to the king. And that's how he saw himself. He's not in the business anymore, and I'm not in the business, so I really don't care. The guy was an asshole. Like every working comedian that I knew, except for a handful of people, despised this guy because he did not like comics. He didn't like them. Yeah, he was a hater, Liv. He was a hater because he had tried comedy and he sucked at it, but he was the manager of Go Bananas because his mom and dad were friends with the guy that actually owned it. And the guy that owned it was like a brain surgeon. So he owned Go Bananas, and I think it was called the Red Dog Saloon. It was a bar that was right next to the comedy club. and John was friends. Anyway, his parents were friends with the guy, yada, yada, yada. Uh, exactly. He was such an asshole. He blackballed me. He blackballed me, Dan Miller, Ralph Palmer, and Michael J because we put on a comedy show in Northern. We decided because other comics were like, listen, man, there's not a lot of comedy clubs in this area. You're going to have to start going to bars and restaurants or whatever and see if it could work for comedy and putting together your own shows. So we did. We put together a show in Northern Kentucky, and it did good. But John found out about it, and he said, your competition now, you're blackballed for a month. Can't get on stage for a month here. How are you going to work out your material? You can't keep, working jokes out in, when you're at a bar and there's 4 or 5 guys around. And that's what comics would do, is because a good joke is not a street joke. Like, hey, 2 guys walk into a bar, that's a street joke. When you're listening to a comedian, they're just telling a story, right? So I would work in these stories while we were just having conversations, and I would do a punchline, and if they laughed, I'd be like, okay, that's a keeper. And sometimes it would work, and sometimes it wouldn't. And it was what I wanted to do. But life gets in the way, and that's just how it is. I had a kid, and I had to take care of her. And comedy wasn't paying. And my wife at the time was like, listen, dude, we're fucking poor, okay? You need to work and focus on that. And that's what I did. And now that everybody's depressed, I'll catch you later. No, I'm just playing. But, well, okay, and transitioning from that, I love my love of comedy. I also have a love of music. I love rock and roll, hard rock, rockabilly. I love surfer music. I love classical music. If I like it, if it sounds good to me, I like it. Not a big fan of country. I don't mind like old country, Conway Twitty and Waylon Jennings and stuff like that. But I'll drink it in the bar and my girlfriend came over and I lost my dog. Whatever, man. I just don't like it. So my dad actually, you can always be a comedian still if you drink. Yeah, I guess, this is pretty much what I'm going to do. I am 51 years old. I'm about to be 52. There is no way I could go out on the road again. The dream is basically this. Here's the dream. I want to be able to open up my own comedy club, because the best comedy clubs that I've worked at and that I've been around were owned and operated by comedians and former comedians. Those are the clubs that, they take care of your comics. They understand, they've got the hookup with the hotel in town, so the comics have a place to stay. Because there's some places it's like, no, we don't have a place for you to stay. Figure that out. And it's like, you're paying me $250 for the week, and I don't have a place to stay, and I'm 500 miles from my house. I can't do that now. I'm too old and broken and disabled. You're looking at the remnants of a once great civilization. Look at me. I look like a ghoul. Got to work on my lighting. But anyway, my dad, I'll never forget, we were watching TV and that sounds like a hard life. It is a hard life, kiddo. It is. The horror stories, actually, go to any comedian's podcast or whatever, and if you listen to them talk about their time on the road, and I'm talking about like Bill Burr, Joey Diaz, Joe Rogan, I'm talking about the big guys. They'll tell you that the road life is hard. And and when I was working, and when I was trying to become, a working comedian, a lot of those guys they're divorced, they never see their kids, they're broke all the time, they're eating shitty food, they're drug addicts, they're recovering drug addicts, they're alcoholics, they're recovering alcoholics. I mean, it's a hard life. And I've already been rode hard and put away wet, so I'm good. But yeah, back to the bass. My dad, we were all watching TV one night, and my dad came home and he had a bass guitar and a little record. It was like you put on a record player, but it was like really thin, and it was he had a book on how to play the bass, and this record was supposed to, like teach you the fundamentals. And my dad was like, I'm gonna join a band. Like, this was out of nowhere. And next thing you know, my dad's in a band. And it's all like, come on, they're baby boomers, so it was all classic rock, Leonard Skinner, stuff like that. And I just remember every Saturday and Sunday, oh my God, loud, it'd wake you up. There's not, I mean, back then, my father ran that house with an iron fist. My father was the man of the house. And but I was like, oh, I want to learn how to play. And he showed me this. That's what he showed me. Like, real simple, right? Just a real simple riff. And I went from there. I taught myself. I would listen and say, well, this sounds good. This sounds good. I had dyslexia, and I have difficult. I mean, I could read, but like retaining, I got hit in the head a bunch of times when I was a kid and in the army. And I was like, reading books, fuck, I'll teach myself. I wish I would have taken it more serious with the fundamentals, because that's what I've been doing for the last like 6 months. Actually, no, I got my beautiful, gorgeous wife. You can't really see it, but it's an Ibanez. It's got humbucker pickups, 3 channels. It's awesome. And this is my baby. And my wife got it for me. Oh, I love you. I love you. Well, anyway, I just started going through like the fundamentals of it. I don't know. I'm working on the circle of fifths. Try putting the light behind the camera if you can. Hold on. See if it stays. It ain't gonna stay. It ain't gonna stay. It ain't gonna stay. I'll work on the lighting issue. I look like I'm at a campfire. I'm about to tell a ghost story. And I've got some, trust me. That was actually a couple years ago. I used to do a podcast on Friday night, so I called it the Friday Night Frights. I might even bring that back, because my daughter Olivia is watching this right now, and I lived at a house right before I joined the Army that was haunted. And I remember laying in bed one time, and my closet door was opening and closing on its own. Like, and I mean like fast. But I was kind of half sleeping, and I remember I opened my eyes and I saw it, and I was like, what the fuck? And when I sat up, it shut. And I was like, yeah, I think something might be up here. I used to hear my name whispered. Billy. I remember I worked at a restaurant at the time. I would come home late at night, and there was like things would be moved around, lights would be on that I know I turned off. I would be in the front room. I ended up moving my bed into the front room because that bedroom just, I didn't like that bedroom. Well, but before I did that, I'd had my daughter for the weekend, and she was sleeping in the bed. I was like, Olivia, go to bed. And then she made me feel bad. She was like, Daddy, I don't want to sleep in this bedroom, and I'm scared. I was like, okay, come on. But I don't blame her because, yeah, I remember I came home one time and all the lights were on and the TV was unplugged. And I was thinking, like, man, that, because you know how sometimes when you plug something in, it's like it's hard to plug it in. And, sometimes like a socket's kind of like you got to really jam it in. That's what it was like with that socket. And I was like, man, something's up here. One time I'm sitting on the couch and something fell off. Yeah, it was crazy. I didn't like that house, but yeah, I would be laying down. I had a futon, and I'd be laying down, and I'd hear Billy, Billy. And I'm like, what? It was creepy, but that's not the only haunted house I lived in. I lived in one when I was a kid out in the country. My sister Heather, she experienced something too, and I also lived in one when I was in the army when I was married to an insane, crazy Korean girl. You remember it? Yeah, it was creepy. Like, I think I told Olivia that the place was haunted, and her mom was like, no, it's not. I'm the one going in there turning the lights on. She was like, Billy, you can't tell Olivia the place is haunted. My bad. I'm one. I have diarrhea of the mouth sometimes, and it's not good. But yeah, when I we were living on Fort Bragg, and I did the math, and I was like, you know what? If we move off post, we can actually save like $500 because she didn't work. She was a bad person. She had like really bad mental problems. Like, she was one of those kind of people, like, she would be okay for like 3 weeks. Like, if you met her, you would think she was the nicest person in the world for 3 weeks. You got to go by, honey. You can go by, baby. Look, I'll cover up the camera.
Sorry.
You're fine.
Love you.
I love you too, sweetheart. Yeah. But she, like 3 weeks, and that was it. After that, she was violent and insane. But this house we lived in, I remember the whole unit got one of my sergeants got everybody together and was like, "Hey, we're going to help Sergeant McSwain and his wife move," and everybody just pulled together and helped me move out to this house. Well, anyway, this house is in Fayetteville, North Carolina, on Roxy Avenue, and the very first day I'm in the bedroom. The master bedroom had its own bathroom, like, attached to it. And I could smell like Bengay. And I was like, man, what the? I was like, Priscilla. Her American name was Priscilla. I said, Priscilla, you smell that? Oh yeah, I smell it. And I'm not being racist or anything. That's how she talked. She said, oh, I smell. Do you put on the Bengay? No, I didn't put on any Bengay. So anyway, uh, fast forward to it was like maybe a couple months later. I love to play the game Rock Band. I play the bass. I love playing Rock Band, but in Rock Band I played the drums, and I played them good. I'd play on expert. It was fun. Well, I had a platoon party. I had, like, I invited the unit out. Hey guys, I'm having a party at the house. Come on out. I got beer, I got liquor. We're gonna have a good time. I got Rock Band. We're gonna have fun. Everybody comes. We're all playing Rock Band. We're having a good time. And Priscilla and I wasn't playing. we were sitting up against the wall. I had some boxes because we still hadn't unpacked everything. So people were sitting on boxes and everything. And it was in the middle of a song. It was loud, and out of nowhere, it felt like like a concussion, like pressure just like went through me. And I felt it, and I was like, oh my God. And I'm looking around, nobody else is doing anything. And I looked down because Priscilla was sitting next to me, and she's doing the same thing. And we both looked at each other and was like, did you feel that? And I'm asking if I'm like, hey Bert, did you feel that? Hey Johnson, did you feel that? Nobody felt it but her and I. That bedroom, when I would close my eyes at night, it felt like somebody was like right there next to me. Oh, hated it. I had a buddy after Priscilla left. A buddy of mine came down to stay with me, and he had a dog, and his dog would not go down the hallway. Like, I mean, that dog put its paws out and was like, not happening. You had to drag that dog down because he slept with the dog in the bed. So the room across mine, he's sitting there trying to pull his dog down. Well, anyway, he had moved out. I'm alone at the house one night. I'm watching TV, and my living room was kind of rectangle, and then the hallway was going down to the right. I'm sitting there watching TV. I remember I had the controller in my hand, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw something, and I just went like, that's all I did. I just kind of looked, and it was a cloud of smoke, mist, going like moving and going down the hallway, and it just dissipated. I slept on the couch that night. Oh yeah. I was like, God damn it, it's fucking haunted. I'm taking pictures. There were orbs in the pictures. I don't know if it was dust, but let me tell you what, that was real. Well, I was single again. I had a lady friend over. We're sitting there. She's on the couch, and out of nowhere, she goes, Bill, is your house haunted? And she's like trying to get behind me. I said, you saw it, didn't you? You saw the smoke, didn't you? And she's like, I thought you were lying about that. I no. It fucked this person. Like, this person it messed up this person's whole view of everything. I never believed in that stuff. I always thought it was fake. And then I saw it one more time in the kitchen. And trust me, I was glad when I moved out of that place. I've never been able to find anything on the house. Like if somebody, I think if it was anything, because I smelled the Bengay, I think it was an old person that passed in the house, and maybe it's what do they call that? A residual haunting. You know, it's not really. I got to quit looking at myself. I got to look at the camera. It's not. It's like like a record on skip. You know. Anyway, because it never hurt me or anything. I never heard my name called like I did in that other place. I don't know. I love the creep. I love horror movies. I do. I guess that's you know, when I sleep at night, I listen to like scary stories to fall asleep to, because people, my wife, I love my wife. I I have PTSD, and I have nightmares almost every night. I probably 90% of the times I dream, it's a nightmare. And I have a very uh I was trying to move on. No, it was trying. Yeah, it probably was trying to move on. I thought you said I was trying to move on. Yeah, it probably was trying to move on. I should have helped it, but I wasn't in a good mental space at that time. But oh fuck, I forgot what was I saying? Oh, my nightmares. There's a very common dream for veterans to have, and it's not funny, but it is. My oldest stepson, he's in the Guard, and he's in the North Carolina National Guard, and he actually had the dream because I used to tell him about this dream, and he was like, "Oh my God, I had it last night." This is a couple weeks ago. It's a dream where you can't find your uniform, no matter what. You don't have the right uniform on. You're late to formation. You're not you just can't get to formation on time, and it's just an amalgamation of, like, you'll get your PT uniform on, you'll show up there, you'll look down, and you'll have like your boots on, and your regular uniform pants, and you're just like, God damn it. I have that. I have Afghanistan dreams sometimes, but I don't like to talk about them. But and I wake up. There's times when I've my wife's had to like hold me down because I'm swinging, and she's an angel. She's an angel. I wouldn't have my VA benefits if it wasn't for my wife, because they're not just going to give you your VA benefits. They're going to make it very difficult for you to get them, because they're trying to weed out the people that are bullshitting. And I understand, but it was very difficult. And I hate to say this, I hate it, but it's true. The VA does not hire people at the top of their game. There are good people that work at the VA. There are damn good people that work at the VA. Okay, they're not all that way. But it's very frustrating sometimes. Very, very, very frustrating. But yeah, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't even have them. So thank God for her. I mean it. I really do. I've done a lot of, you know, I lost my mind for a while, because they, the, they don't want to really fix you. They just want to get you hooked on pills. That's and I have a theory about that. You got a lot of injured soldiers coming back, a lot of people filing for VA claims, can't really afford to pay all these guys, get them hooked on pain pills. They'll either kill themselves or they'll end up getting arrested, and then we don't have to pay them. That's just that's personally what I think. So yeah, it's struggling. People out there, the veterans that, oh, anyway, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, it is terrible, kiddo. You know, her grandfather was a veteran, and I don't know if they took care of him. My dad was a veteran. My dad used to come home when I was a kid because he had back problems too. And basically, the McSwain genes, you're going to have a bad back. I got cousins that have had neck and back surgery. My sister's had neck surgery. I've had back surgery. I mean, it happens. So, God damn, I got lost again. I don't know if I'm getting Alzheimer's or not. What the hell was I talking about? Oh, my dad. Yeah. Pops would come home, and this was in the 80s, when all the Vietnam guys were, they were denying their claims, but my dad, he would come home and he would just be irate. And it's like, goddamn, I'm never joining the military then. There were no jobs. There were no jobs. After 9/11, there were no jobs. Nobody was hiring. I was like, oh my God, I got to take care of my kid. What am I going to do? Fuck. Should have joined a band. Maybe I could start an OnlyFans, but I'd have to pay them. That's a joke. I wrote that a long time ago, but anyway. I'm just going to jam for a little bit. If I don't see the chats, I apologize. I appreciate it, Liv. Thank you. Did that sound okay? I gotta work on it. Giving your what kind of meds is your cat on? My piano's not. I don't have it hooked up. I got a. It's not a piano. It's a little MIDI Actually, I got a camera here. Duh. Oh, look at that. Pretty cool, huh? And I still got to figure out all the ins and outs on how to get that thing working right. But yeah, I could. I don't know. Hold on. Let me see if I can get some drums in here. Let's see. Guy beats. Sounds better. Bass in terms of sound. I gotta fix that. Yeah. Hold on. Is that better? Is that better for the bass? Yeah, I put it on slow mode because I didn't know. I this is my first time, so uh, huh. Edit maybe? No. Cancel that. Customization. Aha. Hold on. Bam. Okay, I took slow mode off. Yay! Yay, I figured something out. Yay. Yeah. I'm getting clipped on it though. That's probably because I got the headphones turned down so low. Yeah. What a dumbass. Yeah. Turn everything up. I want to go in here. Because I've been doing the fundamentals, I'm knowing like exactly ah where to hit it at now. Okay. Okay. Now it's working. Yay. Let's go, Dad. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, kiddo. fuck, I fucked it up. What a duh. I'm just noodling around. Let's try a different drum beat. No, I don't like that one. Ah, man, I messed it up. Oh, was that fun? That was fun, wasn't it? That's what this is making me. This is making me happy. This is good stuff. I think I'm gonna go ahead and. It was good, huh? That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, kiddo. I appreciate it. But I'm gonna go ahead and jump off here because I know it's around 10 o'clock and my wife's about to call it quits. But I love you, kiddo, and I appreciate everybody. If this is gonna be one of those things that like it's gonna save and then you can watch it later, I do appreciate it. I'm gonna try to make this a regular thing. So, if you watch the video, leave a like, leave a comment. Even if it's a negative one, I want to hear everything. If it sucked, whatever, tell me what I can do better. All right. I appreciate it. And I guess what do I hit to stop? In stream. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and in stream. Later, y'all. Have a good one.